Hey everybody, it's the Terrain Parkour update, April 23rd, 2022. A lot's happened in the game. It's been a while since the last update, and I wanted to show you around. There's just a bunch of changes that I'll go through. So here's a new area. You'll have just seen a new transition, a new visual effect. A beam effect doesn't really do much. What else is new? Oh, there's a keyboard shortcut to clear all the junk. There's a keyboard shortcut tab to clear leaderboard. I think these are new. So this is popular races. So each row is a race which has been run recently. This has been run 266 times out of the last like 5,000 runs or whatever. Kind is popular. The people in the server, you can see this guy's got second, this guy's got fifth. The rest of us did not place. You can directly warp to do the run, which is interesting. I'm getting a little lag due to like some graphics card issues here. I'm pretty sure it's not the game. I think it has to do with my fonts. So let's see what we get. Yeah, nothing else has changed. I think visually it's improved a little bit, but not too much. This needs to be faster. Like I think this can be integrated way more, but it's still kind of interesting. All right, so let's try to take these out. So GD, that's not a good race. Fisher to terminal, that's not good. Julia to pothole, that's underground. That's underwater. Fisher to Julia is kind of interesting. Okay, so what's the really substantial change? Well, a problem that we always had was that run timing is kind of irregular. The timing of your start. Like you touch the sign, physics on the server gets the notification that you touched it at a very low interval and then updates. Okay, so I got a record, but still 7th. At a very low interval, updates. So, sorry, at a very high interval, low frequency. It's about 1/10 of a second. Your physics touched events show up in the server. And also, say you touch the near edge of a sign and then you run over the sign for like 0.2 seconds. And then, so let me give you an example. So say like I'm running, so I'll clear this. Say I'm running for Fisher to the top of this hill. The race will start when I hit the beginning of the sign, and then as I'm running, it's bad. The trick that the users do is they run like this, and then they cancel, and there's still an on-the-wire packet going from here, from the client to the server, saying the user did touch it. So I'll be off the sign, I'll be like here, I'll have clicked here, but there's still an in-flight packet on the server which hits it and starts the sign. And then that notifies the client again, yes, the race actually was started on the server. So users would have to do this in order to get a good race. So what I've done now is I make it so that every time the server receives a message saying, hey, the user hit the sign, restart the race. So you'll notice that's what's happening here. It's not, I made it so it doesn't happen like continuously just for bandwidth preservation. But take a look, as I run off this, so I'll run over there, I'll run around to Decker. So I'll run around to there, and after I leave, this will go down again, so I'll leave it. So did you see it went down again after I started running? So it went down to the time which was the last time the server thought I was hitting the sign. So this is good. During testing for this though, I realized something. Server only gets very infrequent updates from physics because physics touched is like a really complex operation. In fact, a complex touch operation is not needed for me. I just need to know, like the definition of someone touching a sign is actually pretty straightforward. All I really need to know is the orientation, position of the sign, the extents, and the location of the user. If, obviously I'm touching, but like basically there can be a region around the sign such that if you're in the region, or if your humanoid root part is like touching the region with some amount of closeness, you'd count as touching the sign. So the benefit of this would be, as far as I can tell, user location, like position, is updated, I believe 30 times a second, unlike 10 times a second. So it's 3 times as frequently, meaning the error would be 1/3 as much, possibly more, right? Like depending how I do it. So that would be pretty awesome. The other idea I had was, okay, not to go into too much detail, but in this game you got to trust the client because it's about location. Given that I'm trusting the client, why don't I just trust the client to know when he actually touches the sign, and just send that to the server as like a claim. Like the client claims I touched the sign at this point. The client claims I touched the end sign at this point. Client-side touch events should be really fast, like really, really accurate. So I think there's two stages of the touch sign rewrite. The latter one, trust the client more, will happen. We'll see how that goes. After that, we can do don't use touch at all and just calculate on the server. It seems very expensive for like unknown gain though. Okay, so there's some other things that have happened since then. You'll notice, so take a look as I run. So I jumped. Now some sparkles are going to come out in a second. Oh, maybe they already came out. Okay, so I'm already running at max speed. So when I jump, red sparkles come out. I love the effect. What that means is that you just slowed down, and then green sparkles came out, saying that hey, you sped up again. This makes it clear what's going on. Well, not that clear, but this is attempting to make it clear what's going on with speed, where certain actions you do, currently only jumping and running into water, will slow you down. I like this little visual hint here. This is a new area. This is kind of an unnecessary track I'm doing. I can just do it on the ground, but it's okay. This is a bit of lore, terrain parkour lore. Who made this arrow pointing to this sign in Fotaxis? A favorite word of mine. All right, so what's going on today? Well, today I wanted to show you the other updates. So this is the presence update. Events in the server get replicated here. This can obviously expand a bunch. I could say not only did I get fourth, but I knocked out this person and here's their image. Or I can have like an array of thumbnails here of all the people, which would be really, really cool. Okay, the other thing I wanted to show you was my coding setup. So this is going to be for education purposes. Hopefully nothing's going to be given away here too bad. But yeah, I think this is all fine. So let's just do an example. Let's say I want to do, so we had a fun run earlier from lock to Ararat. So we'll do, so this is the water run badge. What should I call it? Noah. So for people who haven't watched this video, they'll be able to tell. Well, there's a hint there, right? Scottish Noah. Okay, then this is how I make a badge. So I got these badges, so I'll take over one just to get the ID. It's a weird run. Hint. No hint. Okay, and this is called Scottish Noah. Okay, so I think that's it, right? Let's just call this Scottish Noah. Oh, it didn't change here. That's interesting. Okay, so this is a method that covers. Okay, so this is revealing some secrets, but you guys can figure it out. At the end of a run, we get this object that contains a bunch of data. We look at the data and decide what to give people. All right, so let's talk about programming. I use Rojo, so this is the terrain parkour dev place. Let's make sure everything's working good. So Rojo's connected, clear this. So this is all fake. This is going to like a separate database, test database, not to pollute. It goes to a separate Discord channel, presence dev, which has just got my stuff in it. we run here, stuff happens. You know, as players, this. Right, that just got pinged into here. Haldane Fisher. Oh, maybe that's not. So let's go like C to Clark. So we got another first and C to Clark. Yeah, C to Clark. All right. The way this works is, so let's do. Yeah, so it's in here, right? So what happens is, as soon as I type here, so let's do. So let's do like, hi YouTube. We save that, boom, it's in here. So you get to do everything you want from within Visual Studio without having to go anywhere else. Anything interesting here? I don't want to reveal too much. But yeah, this is it. So I have my folders. I do all the work here. This has some really nice new features. As you'll notice, I use luau. So what this means is after each parameter, you specify what type it is. So this is a type Python user finish run response. It has all these properties. Oh look, there's double this run place, so that's a bug. So it doesn't notify you about everything you should know, such as the thing I just corrected, but it is still pretty nice. So run entry is this. So you can see this. So the benefit of this is, say I have after run data. So we do like local x equals after run data dot, and boom, it's autocorrect, it's auto-completing based on this. And since I chose something that's a text, this is known to be string by the thing. So let's do like virtual place. Oh, we don't have that. I think this run millisecond. So that's a number, right? So this was string before. So this is super nice. Welcome you guys feedback on my coding style, the limited amount that I'll show you here. Okay, so how does this setup work here? So I have a number of extensions. Output colorizer is really important to make stuff here actually like visible, like highlighting different things. I use Python for the backend, so Pylance is really great for, it's like the Microsoft much better version of syntax stuff for Python. What's interesting is that I used to prefer doing everything in Python compared to Lua because Lua didn't have any kind of assistance, but now Lua is like categorically better than Python, and I'm switching everything. A similar pattern as happened with NPM, just taking over the backend from, once you're familiar with good front end, like TypeScript front end, nothing beats it. Okay, I have Roblox LSP, language server. It's really great. Like, it knows all the Roblox APIs. It does tons and tons of autocorrection like this. Rojo for syncing, Stylua, I think, does stuff. But yeah, this just makes it so that every time you see what's, so like if I add like say like I add a bunch of tabs here, which is like totally useless. Like you never want to have crap like this. So it just removes it. Say I like do this, it's like, no, can't do that. It doesn't do as much. Like I would also like it if it would just fix stuff like this. It kind of does. You can probably configure it, but yeah. And then the other interesting thing is tab 9. So it's one of those new AI autocomplete things. So let's try a new script. So let's do like local, let's do like local, what's a good thing? It doesn't seem to be working anymore. So when I first installed it, it was like killer at knowing that remote module is a name for this thing that does remote stuff. So like game replicated storage till. So let's try it again and see what it does. So why is it not working at all? So this worked great when I first installed it, but then just now I modified a bunch of its settings to try to make it do more, and I probably broke it. All right, so what else we got? So the game is still going on. Oh, there's a lot of people in here now. Wow, it's a convention. Okay, so this is the main place. Just to give you a view all the way out. There's Moranis. Here's the new water area. You know, there's so many areas, I can't even keep track of them all, honestly. Like, I know the nearby start areas. I think I need to move the start. Okay, so we added the new badge. Here's Yoke, which is still hard to get to. I haven't got the sign yet. There's the hedgerows, the Aran Islands, Reggie with the early art, the new water area, the old desert, this sort of auto-generated area. This is another new area, which I hope has become more interesting. Now that you can cross over to here, you know, this will get more visits. This area's kind of come into its own recently, like with the addition of Shiny and Starlink, and then Unreal and these things on this hill. It's like, okay. This area is still kind of a wasteland, and up here like really sucks. So yeah, what else do we want to see? Or back to slow motion. I added a lot of signs on here. I still feel like these remote areas, the connectivity is pretty weak. Like when you're down here, you're kind of just down here. You know, the relationship between like Moranis and Point Null and Moranis and Spline, it's basically friggin' identical. I mean, maybe they diverge a little bit here. All right, so let's take a look at one more thing. So this is the update. So anything interesting in here? Oh, I forgot to talk about N. So it's too slow, I admit. So N is recent runs, or sorry, it's first places that were created recently. But really, it's just an excuse to give a list of things for people to run. You know, it's much more fun. I mean, like, you can wander around and do stuff, and you can use click sign, like sign status pop-ups, to sort of get a sense of like the basic framework of a sign. But really what you care about is those hot records. And this will give you the hot records. So I got second place, that's pretty good. So let's do it one more time. I really screwed up this run. Like, I can do way better. Oh, where am I going? The other idea I'm thinking of adding, which I'm kind of excited about, as I've said many times before, movement v2, but I'm thinking there's a way to get there without damaging the game too much. Why was I slower that time? I think I took the wrong direction. There's a way to get there without damaging the game too much, which would be make a third particle type. If you move without falling, even from micrometer, and obviously without jumping, and falling means like a full fall, or it means walking off a semi-cliff, treat those things as breaks in what you're attempting to do. So if you successfully don't have a break for, let's say, like every 4 seconds, we boost your speed. And then every time you have a break, we remove one of those boosts. So this would mean that for longer races, finding uninterrupted smooth patches of land to run on. Why am I not able to beat this? Finding these smooth patches of land to run on would be pretty beneficial to you. And it would mean that, like, the diff, and so there would be speed increases over what we currently have, going up to like maybe current max top speed is 68. So it would go up to, you know, something more, 10% more or something like that. Like, you can still kind of do it, you know, as a good racer, like you can control, but at 10% speed, like, what is the percent diff between first and later? Oh, the problem is I'm insisting on going up this familiar route. I should try a different route. All right, so that's what I'll do next time. So the difference between first and second tier is 400 milliseconds, which is 3%. What's down there? Oh, there's a little, oh, okay, there's the cave. So the difference between first and second is 3%. So that means increasing max run speed by 10% with proper routing could be very significant. Oh, this is a nice way to get up here. Yeah, so knocked it out of the park. Okay, so what else we got? Okay, so let's look at the to-dos. So I'm keeping track of people's sign suggestions, the feedback. This is already done, new sign ideas. A release that happened on Thursday. Anything else? I have a lot of UI ideas that are quite like a pain to do. List of signs that I want to work on. More sign suggestions, feature suggestions, badge ideas. Badge for getting 100 badges. Come on, guys. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I love it. Some tech stuff. What I was going to do for April 1st, which I didn't do. More sign ideas, more settings. So yeah, there's a lot of ideas still there as possibilities. All right, anything else we should talk about? Let's do. Somebody's been, I created Bergfried, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's so janky to get up there. It's Bergfried improv. I'm a big fan of running to improv, though. Like, to the blue sparkle idea. So just now me sticking to that little ledge, probably, in raw numbers, it saved me like almost nothing. But in the future world, if that little ledge were the key to not having any drops, like any momentary speed downs, it would be very worth your while to divert your route to do that. So the eternal worry is that, yeah, I love this sign resetting thing. Like basically you theoretically never have to click down here. Like it's always equivalent to just going. But yeah, the constant worry is that preferentially rewarding smoother routes would shrink the usable land area. There's this property where in areas like this, there's only one sign in Sands of Mars. There's ortho over there. There's not even anything here. Yeah, why isn't there something there? There totally should be something here. So like this precise spacing of these bricks is just irrelevant to everyone. Like no player has ever really thought, okay, do I go this way or that way? It just doesn't come up because there's no race that requires sophisticated crossing. Now maybe there is. Maybe if you're running like as I was doing from improv. So improv to Sands of Mars, you kind of touch this area. Improv to over here, you basically go through this and this is an easy route across here. And then there's a hole here to go through to there. So, but there's nothing going the other way. And something you'll notice in areas where everyone was familiar with the sign or with the area, but then which had a sign added later, like this. Like improv is a really late edition sign. It really makes it much more interesting. All right, where should I go? So we're 25 minutes in. Yeah, we'll wrap this up soon. What are they? There's a lot of debate about the legitimacy of old times, and like this is my bad. There was a period of time when mobile users did not suffer penalties for actions, speed penalties for actions which other people did. And so mobile users were getting killer times. And a lot of those times are still around and it's kind of confusing. Does it still happen or not? Nobody knows. I don't believe it happens, but I can't guarantee it. The coincidence is like either the currently still really good mobile players are, still have an advantage, or they just happen to be like really good. Like their first run of a race is typically as good as anybody else can get, in a long time. Okay, so let's go to Mechanist. So where is that? So this is a really hard part of the game. It's like, I know the connectivity of every area to its neighbor, but I don't know connectivity. So Mechanist is, there's ice, there's like you fall off a cliff, there's transparent radiation, and then there's those like protuberant ice bricks. Okay, so what's a good route? So this is a bit hard to go horizontally. This is easy to go horizontally. Go here. So I think I'm going to go to the right of monolith. All right, so let's go. So my time did not visibly reset there. I want to make sure it's working right. Okay, so it reset very, very quickly. Yeah. I think trusting the client is the way. The other thing, my dream of the thought behind penalizing jumps was that it would force you to do complex routing over air. You'd have to make hard trade-offs between cases where you can jump over something if you can't easily route. So in other words, the space where you can route around something, you can either have an easy route around, in which case you should totally do it, or you can have a hard route around where you should jump. And precisely knowing the difference between those two cases was what I was trying to get at. The problem is the jump penalty is so slight that people didn't even know there was a jump penalty for a long time. I can't really increase it more. I mean, any down speed has the effect of invalidating old records, which is kind of a no-go. All right, so I'm going back to improv. I've never actually taken that route that I just took before. I've done this a million times. Yeah, I've never done a long run to improv. Okay, so let's do an evaluation of how the recently added features, which you did see last time, are playing out in reality. Because I think we have some learnings. So some of them I think are okay, and some are basically failures to the current extent. So sign rewrite, it's good. It's just better. Warp, gigantic success. Redoing ephemeral, big success. Ephemeral warp, big success. Relative ephemeral, I wrote code for it, but it never seems to work. Like, I never get, when he knocks me down, the code that's supposed to tell me, like, not only did he do this and improve their world record, he also, knocked you down. Although in this case he wouldn't have. But like, if this guy improved to 6th and I was 4th, I was whatever before, 8th before, now I'm 9th. I should totally be getting pinged to let me know what's going on. Oh, they're going from Mauna Loa. That's crazy. Okay, other things. This was a success. This was a success to kill those records. Sign pop-ups. I think it's okay. So when I did this, I didn't know about scrolling frames, and scrolling frames are super easy. So I like the deep complexity of this window. I'm a little unhappy that I can't show more data, and I'm unhappy that mouse over doesn't do anything on most of these. But I think a return to this, a couple of weeks or months from now, and do it again with my new knowledge would be pretty good. Why is conch? It's weird. Conch is not warpable. I love running over there. All right. P, I think it's pretty good. The problem is it doesn't. It's too slow. So the trade-off is you want a lot, but you want it to load fast. Oh, Monument Cormu. That's never been run. That's crazy. You want a lot, but it basically has to run like instant. For you to just really, really use it a lot, it has to be instant. And so I think that's my bad. I think I'll just lower the numbers, as a first start. I'll just lower the number of rows that are loaded because the time it takes is proportional to that roughly, plus some constant. I can make it, half the size. It'll be about half the speed, half the slowness. All right, second place. He's way ahead. Okay, so how's a good way to do this? Do you fall? Falling might be slightly better. See, like I'm taking a big diversion here to avoid jumping, and I'm almost definitely not going to get paid back for that because the speed up is just not enough. Yeah, this is terrible, terrible run. Anything else? Oh, Lilypad Wiki. Oh, another thing to evaluate. Yeah, the success of these new signs. So I went back and repaved certain areas with sort of inset new signs like this. I think it's a success. Like as I said in the last video, you think the signs are about making you go to new areas, but signs are actually about making you reconsider areas that you thought you knew. Or like have a tightly interlaced crisscross of information and feeling, or like connectivity relationships. Like I probably know this map. I mean, imagine you did a thought exercise, like imagine moving from place to place around a space which you know well. How long could you do that for while still going to new places? I think I could do that here for like a long, long time. Possibly even more than in real life. That was such a sad run. I mean, these guys are good, but like I've got to be able to get at least first try, like no obvious huge mistakes. I don't know how. I mean, I think my players are so good at just like jumping precisely. I just sort of throw it up there. All right, so whatever, I'm within a little bit. Ooh, what if I showed you percentage gap? That would be cool. What's up? Yeah, he probably knows we're recording. All right, so let's finish up, talk about some cool features that I want to do. And you guys respond in the comments what you think about these features. Number one, touch the sign, go into first person camera mode. So for this sign only, as soon as you touch the sign, you're in first person until you either cancel or, something happens, right? What about a badge for you are the 100th person to run a race? So if a race has like 99 runs, the next person to run it will get the badge. This could be very grindy, I realize. I don't want to make the game unfun. But I'm definitely going to do something like that. I think it's classic. What else? Where's Jasper? There we go. Yeah, I do like the first person idea. Ooh, because, because I think the game becomes a lot more like visually intense when you're in first person. Oh, okay. Idea 3. Better sounds. Let's get the sound. I mean, I don't even have sounds on. They're so bad. Like, the footstep sound is so slow compared to the speed that I'm running. Okay, idea 4. Something to achieve the effect which sign pop-up is supposed to have. So what this is supposed to do is hint you and make you feel excited about doing a run, which you know is interesting. So why did it fail to do this as well as it could? Because if a sign has never been run before, sign pop-up works well because it tells you you will definitely get a world record. Like you will do something interesting if you do this run. For the case where it shows the run status, like you have third place and the other guy has first place, well, you'd have no way to judge how close you are to their run. So it's not very inspirational to get you to do it. What other ideas? Okay, so the way this would work is when I'm near the sign, I like click a thing or something like that, and then just a series of visual indicators come up saying like, go here, go there, you know, make it more interactive. Like, I'm happy with the speed. I think the speed of this could be a little bit faster, obviously, but it's okay. You know, it's not the worst. Like, it's kind of usable. I mean, click, boom, click, boom. It's like 250 milliseconds or something, 300 milliseconds. It'd be better if it was 0, but, you know, I can cache, obviously, which I don't do. Okay, other things. Signs which you haven't found should glow. So I think for new players, a failure mode for new players is they fail to touch a sign. It's actually kind of common to see that. And then they quit and they never get the idea. I think if the sign were glowing, it would... I think this is technically doable, actually. Wow, that was cool. So I'm not that good at doing this. I think this is a special obby skill that people have. So how do we get up to Quark? Oh, I gotta show you one other crazy thing I discovered, or was taught to me. Yeah, I cleaned this whole area out. Okay, so yeah, what other ideas do I have? Okay, so hints for where you should go to improve sign pop-up, hints for which signs you should touch, more of these little particles is good. Oh yeah, dynamic run routing. So, okay, there's actually a lot of ideas. Favorite sign. So basically, for each user, you would declare this sign is my favorite, and then it would occupy a place of pride in all of these windows. So say I had decided that Fisher was my favorite sign. Well, the last item here would always be Fisher if it had not appeared in a prior location. Maybe first to make it easy. So if you're specializing in Fisher, you can just, you know, do what you want. It would have other, I mean, the full integration version of this is great. Anytime anyone got a record in Fisher, you'd be notified. Okay, the other one is dynamic running. So, okay, here's my assertion. When I'm running from the zone, I'm gonna just keep running this way. I'm gonna go up, I'm gonna go past Julia, I'm gonna go to like LA River, Stepping Stone, Transparent Radiation, that type of area. I believe that almost every sign there would be a world record if I hit it. But I don't know, you know, if I'm just exploring around, having this running timer like this is kind of like carrying something with me. Like I'm carrying the sign with me. And it's quite valuable to have carried a sign far. And you don't want to, as soon as I touch anything, I lose that. I gain the world record, but I lose the fact that I'm carrying the sign. So if I'm going to do it, I want to be told, guaranteed. So what I would like to see is now, when I look down at LA River, I want it to flash on top of it. If you finish this race now, you will be first place. So this is like pretty satisfying. We're back to the zone. So let's see, what did we just do? So a failure is that we can't see what we just did. Like this moved up from 10 to 11, which is good. But I don't have anything saying you ascended to 4th sign place for the zone. And if the sign were not here, like what did we even run? Stepping Stone. If the sign doesn't appear in the signs list, you know, I have no way to get back that top 10 list. Like how am I supposed to see the top 10? I don't want to do over here. So I want to like sort of bask in the glory of what was just achieved. For this, well, let me give you an example. So Wikifisher is a huge pain. For this, I did do something to try to achieve this goal. Wow, it's crazy that we've all ran every race. But nobody's run Witherbottom Fisher. All right, let's do it. I mean, except him. Oh, that was bad. All right. I'll do a warp back. So yeah. So what am I trying to show? I'm trying to show that the concept of statefulness for these menus is important. Like when you open and close the menu, you kind of need to know where you were before, because your whole goal, like the goal of all of this entire game is you see the output of a DB query and then you do something and the output changes and you need to see what you've done. So, I mean, that's what this is. This is like the run result screen is just an integration of the old view and the new view. Okay. So I did that. Now let's do weather bottom to Fisher. Let's see if it works. So yeah, it's green highlighted. So I use green to indicate, well, I'm a little inconsistent here because I use green to indicate first place, but I also use it to indicate your personal last run. It's really just to make it visually here. I mean, the other problem with this is if you run something down here, you know, if I run a 13 here, it'll pop all the way up to here. Like, let's just test this, 30 cube input Texas. So I've got to go over there. Okay, so I'll set this up, ready to go. So it was 13, it'll pop to 14. It'll probably be visible. I mean, it'll be visible, but like a little hard to see. You guys see what I'm saying? Oh, this freezing is super annoying, isn't it? All right, so yeah, what happened, right? Why are we at 1819? Like, I do preserve scroll state, but sometimes it fails like this. So this is a pretty bad bug. Yeah, I really need to fix this. Okay, so those are the ideas. Let's see, what else we got? Anything interesting? I do like X. All right, so we got settings. That doesn't work very well. We got surveys. This is going okay. People are filling out surveys. I can add more. The aggregation is not very good. We got marathon settings. They're all off. I want to have better marathon control from here. You should be able to directly toggle. I should be able to like turn the marathon off here, and I should be able to view top 10 from there. So yeah, I really have accumulated a lot of like UI tech debt. We need images here. This is kind of interesting. So I kind of am happy with this. I think we need better images for these here, but that would really blow up vertical spacing. And most of the recent ones don't have advanced images. It's just overwhelming. Like they do not have it, but I like it. Okay. So so Hyper has done every marathon. He did 387 marathon. That's freaking crazy. So wow. So 3 people have done it. It took 6,000 seconds, 100 minutes for Silicon. Okay. So he's done these. Everybody got bumped to creator. I fixed that. They've got all of these. They're in process. I think some of these are busted for me. They're in progress there. They're in progress here. They're just too hard. Princely got 612 signed world records. Nobody got midnight. Nobody got large time and space equality. Nobody got year run. I can't believe it. The game is slightly being converted into a bit of more of a puzzle game, which I'm happy about. Like the lore gets deeper, as long as it's approachable to people as they come in. All right, so next update is implement more features from here. I have some badges I want to create tonight. Make a new sign. I want to make a Unicode sign. Emoji sign. And yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have fun.